Hey guys, Lucky Cap Gaming here, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses. Last time, we entered the Garrigmach Monastery, and we met with Lady Rhea Archbishop Rhea. Not quite sure if she's got the lady title, but I also met the teachers.
Ha! I imagine you were a bit surprised that I recommended you as a professor here. Frankly, we had someone else in mind for the role, but they ran off during our dust-up with the bandits. Can't entrust students to someone who's abandoned them once before, huh?
You saved the lives of the students you came across. That, at least, was admirable. Now you should make the rounds. Go around the monastery and see that you greet everyone.
Okay. Yes, and this episode we're going to be looking for the members of the three houses, as well as the students. An new map in the upper right corner of the screen shows your current location, the locations of important people, and the direction to quest givers, and more. Zoom or change the map view with the ZR button. Okay. So, walking right out, we can see... Well, this is a reception hall. And right over there, we can see Edelgard. And we got some conversations going on over there. Something's a pity.
So, you've accepted a teaching position here. Pity. I was hoping you would lend your strength to the Empire. I never properly introduced myself, did I? My name is Edelgard von Hresvelk. I am the princess and heir apparent of the Adrestian Empire. I wonder if you'll be tasked with leading the Black Eagles. I hope you've had a chance to meet everyone. Would you like to know more about any of the Black Eagles?
In fact, yes, I would like to know more. So, we're able to get bios on all of these characters right here. Edelgard, Hubert, Ferdinand, Linhart, Casper, Bernadetta, Dorothea, and Petra. Let's begin with Edelgard.
Me? Well, some think I'm a bit distant. Arrogant, even. But there's little to be done. One day, I must rise to become Adrestia's next emperor. What else? Well, it seems to me that we may have similar personalities.
Alright, so, on the left side, you can see her level. You can see that she's level 2 because we got her to kill that boss in the prologue. She has 30 HP, 4 movement, and she is a noble. As you can also see, she has strength, magic, dexterity, speed, luck, defense, res, and charisma. So, just to give you a little bit of a run-through on what each of the stats do. Strength affects your physical attacks, such as with swords and axes. And then magic. That would affect magical-based attacks with light magic or reason magic. There's also dark magic. I forget the name of that. I think that might also just be reason magic. And then there's also anima magic, which is like fire, lightning, those sort of things. And then there's also staves that come with that. So we've also got dexterity. It affects your ability to hit a target and your critical hit chance. So think of this like a skill from previous Fire Emblem games. The speed affects your avoidance rate, how often you are able to dodge, and enemies attack. I'm also pretty sure that speed should affect whether or not you can double attack, which is when you attack the enemy attacks you, then you can go in for a second attack. You've got, after that, luck. Various minor effects on a lot of things lowers the risk of receiving a critical hit from an enemy. There's defense, it just reduces damage from physical attacks. Resistance, that protects you from magical attacks a little. It's basically the magical defense. And then you've got the Charisma. It increases your gambit attacks from battalions, which that is what the flag symbol is on the right. Increase the gambit's damage, hit chance, and avoidance possibilities. All this I got from this website called Gamers Heroes. I'll be sure to put a link to that in the description below. So, you could also see that she has strengths in swords, axes, battalions, and armor, but she has a weakness in bows and magic. Well, one kind of magic, it seems. So now, we can have a look at the... Let's see here. Here we go. We'll want to take a look at this. It's the growth rates for each character. She also has this ability called Imperial Lineage, which multiplies experience earned by 1.2. Nice. Now we have Hubert.
Hubert is the heir of Marquis Vestra. He has served me since I was a child. You may think his blood runs a bit cold, but actually that's rather accurate. Still, if you can get past that, you'll see he's quite astute and reasonable.
He has the defining ability Officer's Duty, and that grants might +5 with gambits. He is also proficient in gambits, also has strengths in bows and reason magic, I think. Then that would be his weaknesses. You can see that he's weak with axes, that type of magic, and flying. And also you can press X if you want to like big zoom in on their face for some reason. Not sure exactly why you'd want to do that. I mean, you have the option at least. Yeah. So, with the classes, you're going to see among all these characters, they're either going to be a noble or a student. Just so you know. And you can see that has a pretty fair stat spread. We've got Ferdinand right here.
For some reason, he thinks of me as a bitter rival and is always trying to challenge me. It's terribly irritating. His house is that of Duke Ayer, which produces Adrestia's prime ministers. That family is, perhaps, too pleased with its own status.
She's got the defining ability Confidence, which grants hit/avoid +15 when unit is at full HP. Okay, and then he's got strengths in swords, lances, axes, and horses, but no weaknesses. It's very nice and well balanced. Then, yeah, he's noble, and yeah. The information on the right is really what you're going to want to be focusing on here. So, looking at that. Now we have Linhart right here.
He's remarkably intelligent, but he only wishes to apply himself to tasks that particularly interest him, and nothing else. He's also fond of, well, napping. If he had any work ethic or sense of duty to speak of, I suppose he would be destined to become an official of the Empire.
Alright. His defining ability is Catnap, which if unit takes no action except wait, recovers up to 10% of max HP. His strengths are in the books, his weaknesses are in axes and punching with the gauntlets. Gauntlets are a new weapon in this game, but we'll get to that eventually. So yeah. Next we have Casper.
He's the second son of Count Bergliez. He has no inheritance in his future, which is perhaps why he's always so eager to prove himself. He's overly energetic and rushes headfirst into any battle. If he ends up in your care, be sure to keep a close eye on him.
Alright, his defining ability is Born Fighter, adjacent foes suffer a void -10 during combat. That is actually somewhat similar to a certain skill that some dark mages had back in Fire Emblem Awakening. And that's even more ironic considering the fact that I'm pretty sure he has a weakness in dark magic. So, yeah. Next we have Bernadetta.
She's Count Varley's only daughter. I suppose you could say she's a bit eccentric, but she seems like a gentle soul. I believe she's shut herself away in her quarters and doesn't care to leave, but don't worry, I'll make sure she finds her way to class.
Yeah. And her defining ability is Persecution Complex. Grants attack +5 when unit is not at full HP. That honestly seems like a pretty good skill. She's got strengths in lances and bows. So that kind of reminds me of Tressa from Octopath a little, but she's got weaknesses in swords never mind. But she's got weaknesses in swords, axes, fists, and armor. So yeah, moving right along, we've got Dorothea.
Few commoners have joined the Black Eagle House, but Dorothea is an exception. She's a songstress from a famous opera company in the Empire. I'm not entirely sure what brought her to the Officers' Academy.
Now, her defining ability is Songstress, in which adjacent allies recover up to 10% of max HP at the start of each turn. Her strengths are in sword and reason magic, but her weaknesses are in the anima magic, horses, and flying. Alright. Last but not least, we have Petra.
To the west of Fodlan is an archipelago called Bridgette. Petra is the granddaughter of their king. Bridgette is a vassal state of the Empire, which is how she came to be enrolled here. She's incredibly smart and studious.
And her defining ability is Hunter's Boon, which grants crit +20 when foe's HP is less than or equal to 50%. Very interesting. And her swords, axes, bows, and flying, those are all her strengths, but she has weaknesses in all of the magics. So, yeah, her magic stat is pretty low, so you probably won't be making her into a mage anytime soon. And with that, that's all of the members of the Black Eagles. Hello there. You must be a new student.
Greetings! You must be the new professor. What a pleasure. As for me, my job is to stand here at this glorious entrance and leisurely watch over the comings and goings of everyone. Make folks smile, you know? And by that, I mean to vigilantly guard this entrance with my very life. No levity whatsoever. As of now, nothing to report.
Huh. That's pretty cool that I got to meet that lad right there. So they're just guarding the door, I guess.
Yes.
And then we could walk that way. Might as well take a peek over here. Oh yeah, this is where we can find the rest of the students in the Officers' Academy. Here we can just get a nice little view of everyone's house room. We got Golden Deer that way. And then the... Oh, by the way, there are cats. That's pretty cool. Like, I just took about a minute to watch one of them. Like, their cat actions are so accurate. The way they just, like, laid right down. It was pretty interesting. So yeah, we've got blue lions right there and black eagles. Alright. Dimitri's right there. I think we'll introduce ourselves to all the students before we start talking with the
came to our
minor
aid,
students.
Yet I hadn't even the courtesy to properly introduce myself. I am Dimitri Alexandra Blathid, Crown Prince of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Of course, at the Academy, I am simply a student. And I've heard word that you are to become a professor here. Delightful news. I still have much to learn, but I'm confident I could benefit greatly from your guidance. In any case, welcome to the monastery. I hear you're investigating the different houses here. Did any of the blue lions catch your attention?
Well, I am curious about them. So first we'll take a look at Dimitri.
Me? Oh, please forgive me. It's difficult to open up on the spot, don't you think? I'm afraid my story has not been a pleasant one. I do hope that doesn't color your view of me, but I understand if that can't be helped.
Now, he also has the skill Royal Lineage, which is just like Edelgard's skill, which multiplies experience earned by 1.2. And his strengths are in swords, lances, and the battalions. His weaknesses are in axes and the magics.
Dedu was born in Dusker, and has been loyally working in my service for the past 4 years. He's rather taciturn, but once you get to know him, you'll see he's a kind and good-natured young man.
Now, looking at Dedu, I would definitely suggest an Armor Knight for this lad, because if you take a look at him, he has proficiency in lances, axes, gauntlets, and armor. And plus, his defining ability, Staunch Shield, if you look at it, if unit takes no action except wait, it grants defense plus 4 for turn 1. Well, 1 turn. And that is actually pretty impressive. In case you're holding a strategical position, he'd definitely be a good man to put on the job. Like, if you're holding, like, defensive terrain, that'll definitely be a good spot for him. Then we have Felix.
Felix is the heir to House Fraldarius. He has a bit of a sharp tongue, but don't let that fool you. Deep down, he's a good guy. He gravitates toward people who are skilled. Perhaps you would enjoy a friendly competition with him sometime.
Now, his defining ability is Lone Wolf. Unit deals 5 extra damage when no battalion is assigned, or when battalion endurance is 0. So he could be next to other students, it's just he can't really use battalions. And yeah, he's good with swords, bows, and gauntlets, weak with the reason magic and battalions. So yeah, definitely don't put battalions on this guy. Next we have Ash.
He's the adoptive son of Lord Lenato of Castle Gaspar, but I hear he was born a commoner. He has an extremely earnest personality, so I'm certain he will approach your lectures with great enthusiasm.
Now, he's got this interesting skill here, Lockpick, which was usually on the thieves of the past, but he just has this as a skill, which allows him to open doors and chests without keys. His strengths are in axes and bows. His weaknesses are in the magics. Well, reason magic, at least. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Next, we have Sylvane.
Sylvane is the heir to House Gautier. He is a capable person who highly values his friends. That said, well, he's always been a bit of a skirt chaser, so to speak. Pardon my bluntness. I speak with him about it often, but it doesn't seem to help.
Now, his defining ability is Philanderer, with... Okay, if a female ally is adjacent, unit deals 2 extra damage, takes 2 less damage during combat. So, yeah, definitely useful. And his strengths are in lances, axes, and horses. His weaknesses are in bows. Alright then. Next we have Mercedes.
I hear she was born to imperial nobility, but a twist of fate brought her to the kingdom. She may seem carefree on the surface, but she's actually a kind soul who pays careful attention to everyone around her.
And she definitely pays careful attention because she's definitely meant to be a healer. Like, her skill is specifically for healing. When healing an ally with white magic, unit recovers the same amount of HP. Live to Serve is quite a useful skill on a healer. And it's only 4 healers, really. So her strengths are in Reason Magic and Anima Magic. Her weaknesses are in the normal swords, lances, axes, and armor. Okay. And then we've got Annette.
Annette is Baron Dominic's niece. She is a talented student who scored extremely high marks at the Royal School of Sorcery. She's cheerful and hardworking. Brilliant, really. Though she can be a bit oblivious at times. I hear she caused an explosion in the kitchen last night.
Yeah, and her defining ability is Perseverance. Use Rally to grant Strength +4 to an ally. Oh, it's the Rally skill. Okay, that's pretty cool. Her strengths are in Axes, Reason Magic, and Battalions. Her weaknesses are in Bows and Armor. Next and last, we have Ingrid.
Ingrid is Count Galatia's daughter. She is also a childhood friend of Felix, Sylvane, and myself. She is diligent, industrious, and principled. In truth, she is more knightly than most knights you will ever meet.
And her defining ability is Lady Knight, which grants Might +3 and Hit +5 with Gambits. But surprising? Wait. I'm not quite sure about Gambits yet, but I feel like that has something to do with Battalions. I don't know. And strengths are in Swords, Lances, Horses, and Flying. So, you could either make her a pretty good Cavalry, or you can make her a pretty good Pegasus Knight. So, your choice. Alright.
Okay.
And, yeah, just some students talking about the other students around here. Now, let's go talk with Claude.
Well, scored a teaching gig here, did you? Talk about a great first impression. I guess that means I'd better introduce myself properly. I'm Claude Bon Regan. I'm from the ruling house of the Leicester Alliance, but don't worry too much about all that madness. I'm guessing you don't know which class you'll be teaching yet, do you? I bet you'd like ours. We're not as difficult as the other two. Have you met the folks from the Golden Deer House yet? Care to know more about anyone?
Alright. Yeah, let's learn about them. So we've got Claude here.
Piqued your interest, have I? As luck would have it, I'm pretty curious about you as well. But what's life without a bit of mystery? Let's just spend the next year or so learning about each other little by little.
Now, you definitely can notice a common thread among all three of the leading students, I suppose. And it's that they all have a skill that multiplies experience earned by 1.2. Specifically, the Leicester lineage for Claude, and his strengths are in swords, bows, battalions, and flying. So that's interesting. But his weaknesses are in lances and anima magic. Good to know. And then you have Lorenz.
He's the heir of Gloucester territory. If you haven't already picked up on it, he's a bit arrogant and fancies himself a ladies' man. That said, deep down he's really devoted and honest. Though I wouldn't mind never hearing him talk about his noble obligations ever again.
Yeah. Now, you notice he has strength in lances, in the reason magic, as well as in horses, but he's got weaknesses in fists, or gauntlets, which definitely means you should put him on a horseback, because, you know, you can't use gauntlets on a horse, so, yeah. And his defining ability is Distinguish House. Unit deals 2 extra damage while in formation with the battalion. Interesting. Next we have Raphael.
He comes from a merchant family, but his parents died in an accident. Seems like he's had a rough life. Despite all that, he's just about the most cheerful guy you'll ever meet. His passions are training, eating, and actually that's about it.
Yeah. You can definitely notice his like for eating because his defining ability is Goodie Basket. Chance to recover up to 10% of max HP at the start of each turn. Trigger percent equals luck stat. And he has 6 luck, so, you know. His strengths are in axes and fists and armor. His weaknesses, though, would be in bows, reason magic, and horses. Yeah. And then, yeah, he's got a pretty nice stat spread. Well, except in Res. Res is incredibly weak, as well as magic, but his strength definitely makes up for that, and defense. So definitely looks like you should make Raphael an armored knight.
He's the second son of a merchant family. Since his brother will inherit the business, he's training to become a knight. If you ask me, it doesn't seem like he truly wants to be a knight. He's probably just doing it to please his parents.
Now, his defining ability is Watch Fly, which grants hit plus 20. I don't know about you, but that does seem like a pretty good archer skill. And speaking of which, his strengths are in bows, swords, and battalions. His weaknesses, though, only one, and that's in flying. So, yeah. Next you have Lysithea.
Lysithea is the daughter of Count Ordelia, and is probably the youngest student here. But watch out, she gets angry if you treat her like a child. As for me, I do it on purpose. You have to make your own fun in this place, you know?
Ooh. Okay. This definitely seems like an interesting skill right here, because doubles skill experience earned in battle. So basically, she'll grow faster with her strengths and the reason magic, anima magic, and battalions. And I suppose even her weaknesses will grow faster with swords, lances, axes, and armor. Alright. Next we have Marianne.
Marianne is Margrave Edmund's daughter, and that's pretty much all I know about her. She doesn't interact much with other students, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of folks here have never even heard her speak.
And her defining ability is Animal Friend. So unit recovers up to 20% of max HP at the start of each turn when adjacent to a cavalry or flying ally. So, well, up to 20% of her HP, so I'm not quite sure about the meanings of that, but her strengths are in swords, anima magic, horses, and pegasi. Her weaknesses are in gauntlets and armor. Next we have Hilda.
Hilda is the only daughter of Duke Goneril. It seems her father and brother coddle her quite a bit. If you look up lazy in the dictionary, her picture won't be there because she never got around to submitting it. Not too unusual for a noble, I guess.
Oh man, that's an incredible roast. But her defining ability is Advocate. Adjacent male allies deal 3 extra damage during combat. So, if you manage to get a way to have both her and I believe Ferdinand on the battlefield, you put them together, they're gonna do some crazy stuff. It's gonna be like she's giving him 3 extra damage, and he's getting 2 extra damage from that. So in total, he's getting 5 extra damage plus 2 defense. So that's pretty crazy. Her strengths are in lances and axes. Her weaknesses are in the anima magic and battalions. So yeah. Last but not least, Leone.
Leone enrolled because she wants to be a mercenary. I think she said that her father is a hunter. She's pretty blunt and as stingy as they come. A habitual saver, too. I think she's hoping to repay her village for helping to send her here.
Oh, okay. So Leone actually has the same skill as Ferdinand. It's just that she deals 2 damage and takes 2 less damage when a male ally is adjacent because of rivalry. Okay. And her strengths are in lances, bows, and cavalry. She doesn't have any weaknesses, so, you know, the whole floodgates are open. Alright.
I appreciate it.
And with that, we've completed that. Oh man, this is kind of funny because it just looks like the Archbishop Maria is just saying, scored a teaching gig, eh? But yeah, we spoke to all 3 house leaders and gathered information about the students. But I think we're going to have to do some more information gathering. We received an iron sword, vulnerary, and 500. Alright, so I suppose I should go return to Rhea. But how about we continue exploring? Because next time on Fire Emblem 3 Houses, we are going to be exploring, really fast now, all 3 of the houses. Because we gotta talk with all the students. So see you guys then.